Chief Pluggy's Revenge. I want to say 6. Chief Pluggy's Revenge. Is it already 6? So this will be up to an hour and a half. If you got to this part, I haven't even talked about Chief Pluggy yet. I've talked for over an hour and I haven't even mentioned Chief Pluggy. Then I'm not going to mention him now. So I got to finish the truth, right? That's what Thanksgiving is about. It's about telling the truth about ourselves. Let's stop whitewashing this fucking holiday. Talk about the Native American. Talk about the genocide. Talk about how we can make things better. What should we have done? And what can we do now to make things right? Right? That's what we're going to do. We're talking truth today, so I'm finishing up this list of stats about Kentucky. Recently I compiled 5th worst state in America for women to live. The contraceptive and abortion clinics and other women's rights issues are not being taken care of. But we have Ashley Judd. Loretta Lynn, she talked about contraceptives. So you got banned for talking about contraceptives. It's the Bible Belt, so we don't want to talk about condoms and birth control. But be surprised why there's a fucking explosion of teen pregnancy. So number one, for horrible, all these horrible things: animal abuse, child abuse, having dirty public spaces, our parks ain't clean, cancer, fastest growing prisons, right? Poverty, every sort of cancer that you can name of, every one that you could think of or imagine. That's where we're dying of every fucking cancer out there. And we're probably even creating new types of cancer. When Ronnie Lee Smith cured cancer. Ronnie Lee Smith ran for sheriff in Gallatin County, Kentucky, and he basically got pushed out of the county. He got pushed out of the county because he had the cure for cancer, and they didn't want to hear about it. Same thing with Gatewood Galbraith, who was our Huey Long, Kentucky's Huey Long. We had another William Justice Goebel. We had a FDR in our state, and yet he had no support. It's like the truth tellers don't get support. The truth tellers are laughed out of the water. How dare you tell us the truth? You tell us the truth, we don't believe you. No motherfucker out here actually tells us the truth. You're supposed to wear a suit and tie and have press conferences and shit and have all these fucking decorations. American flag and a fucking podium, the seal, maybe a security guard, one or two, some crowd behind you, so you got all these fucking support, from the world. Then you'll believe it, right? Then you'll tell the truth. And then the press will repeat it. You'll see it on the TV, media. You'll think it's true. Everybody goes on as if they fucking know what's going on. So, number 7, for the least government money, to prevent mental illness. I think Kentucky is one of the craziest states out there. There's people being forced to eat their own beards. There's a 5-year-old kid that shot a 2-year-old kid. Murders happens every day. Some of the most bizarre shit every fucking day. It never stops. There's a lot of people, so there's one part of just a lot of people being in enclosed, confined space in a city. But I mean, this is throughout the whole state. So lots of insanity. And they're not spending any money to stop the insanity. Number 8 state for having the lowest gross domestic product. So we ain't making shit. We're fucking crazy. We're non-driving motherfuckers. We got brain cancer. We got every cancer in the world that you could think of. Our emotional well-being is no good. We're beating the shit out of our pets. We're beating the shit up out of our kids. Number 8 state, right, so we're not making anything. GDP, one of the lowest. We're not really producing as much as the rest of the country is. China's making all this shit, and we're not. Kentucky is not pulling their end of the bargain up. They're actually a fucking receiver state, so for every dollar we send to Washington, we get $1.50. So we're getting more than our fair share of money from the government. Lots of white people on welfare. In fact, all these problems are white people problems because Kentucky is one of the whitest states in the nation. Appalachia is virtually all white. I don't even know if there's like one black person in Appalachia. But you have, even in Louisville, Kentucky's Chocolate City, 22% of the population is black. So the majority of the people, even in Louisville's Chocolate City, like compared to Cincinnati, which is 50%, is black and white. It's almost like just 1-to-1, right? But here it's not the case, 22%. So it's not as black as many other major cities. So, very white state. All these problems, white people are the main receivers of welfare, main receivers of food stamps, main receivers of Social Security. They're the ones that run the government. They're the police officers and the firefighters. They're the criminals. They're the ones in jail. They're the embezzlers. They're the bankers. They're the politicians. They're the judges. White people run every fucking thing. White people are everywhere. Usually don't say it. You don't mention it, but it's the truth. They have peach-colored skin, but for some reason we've been calling them white for a long ass time. Everybody keeps on carrying in, keep on reinforcing this social construction. Kentucky is 8th nationally for brain and other nervous system cancer deaths. So they're dying of brain cancer. Because they're so smart, right? They're such geniuses. They're fucking getting these cancerous tumors. It's killing them. You have, we did invent the radio. Nathan Stubblefield invented the radio. Kentuckian, a Kentucky farmer, invented the radio. Number 8 in America for cervix cancer incidents. Number 9 nationally for cops charging the most DUIs. So we can't drive. We're wrecking all over the place. We're getting drunk. Number 1 for binge drinking, and for DUIs also police state. I don't know if that shows more of a police state thing or if it shows more of a we're stupid and getting drunk all the time. Number 10 in America for having the highest number of students on free and reduced lunch. Another poverty thing. It's also federal money. If you want your kids in elementary school to be eating, you want, those federal dollars. Some people say sucking on the government's teat, but I mean, it's food for your children. So I'm not sure what they would actually be suggesting. If you don't take federal or state dollars for public education, then you're saying no education, you're saying private education, and that would be money out of everybody's pocket, which is what is happening now. But I'm sure that the tax rate, I'm not for sure actually, I don't know if the tax ratio is helping working class people's mostly. I would assume it's property tax, so people that don't have property are getting their kids educated too, so it would help folks that don't have property, as well as the property class, which isn't, the rich class. It just means they own a piece of land. Number 10 in America for having the highest number of students. Right, I already mentioned that. Nationally, on free and reduced lunch. Also 10th nationally for having the smartest P through 12 students in America. So Kentucky is the 10th smartest. So if you actually read all that, most of them are bad statistics, but the very last one is the ray of sunshine. It's a ray of hope. We got super smart, genius, evolved, technologically advanced young people. The classes today, they instituted SB 1 in 2010. Obama says get Common Core. Kentucky got Common Core. They said here's the standards. Kentucky Kid says give us the fucking test. Fucking killed the test. They was 34 2 years ago, 34th place, and then last year they was 14th place, this year 10th place. So Kentucky students are fucking super geniuses. They're fucking learning and listening to all the shit that they're being told. Their heads are being stuffed with lots of fucking information, which hopefully the memorization and the regurgitation in the oppressive classrooms has sunk. Actually, they retained some of it. So most evolved, technologically advanced, the smartest, youthful generation is coming up and could very well be the savior of all of Kentucky's woes. The older generation's fucked up, they're abusive, there's violence, there's crime, there's prisons, there's brutality, there's toothlessness, there's health issues, there's heart problems, there's cancers, there's obesity. I mean, all these epidemics that's happening right now, and that's been happening since 1774, since Harrodstown was formed, for nearly 240 years. It's almost 240 years. Quick shout out to Jesse Cloth. Talking about Chief Pluggy. This is Chief Pluggy's Revenge 6. Right? So you got Chief Pluggy's Revenge. Shout out to Jesse Cloth for Thanksgiving. This is the second annual Thanksgiving, so actually all this is review. We're going to have a Thanksgiving festival weekend. It's going to be, it was for the original one was for 3 days. So, it's not just one fucking day on the fucking Thursday. It's 3 days of fucking partying. Right? So, Thanksgiving weekend. Jesse Cloth. This is our second annual one. I think this is a good fucking thing. Well, basically, just kind of been out in this world, you know, fighting this shit by myself. Ran into dude. Dude's cool. We've been kind of, you know, just touching base with one another. He's in Columbus. I'm in Louisville. Sort of have a Ohio versus Kentucky thing going on, but I think it's just we love the states where he came from. We know these places more. This is the second time I'm going to Columbus. I'm actually going to take the route of Chief Pluggy. Chief Pluggy was from Delaware, and Delaware is just north of Columbus. So you go south, right? You go south and you go through Columbus, Chillicothe. I think it's Chillicothe. So Chillicothe is the main fucking Shawnee capital. You know, they kept on moving it because that's what the Shawnees would do. They would, you know, be able to put their shit up, fucking take it down, go somewhere else, put it up again. And wherever the capital was called was where that was Chillicothe, and Chillicothe actually fucking moved several different spots. So there's 5 different spots for Chillicothe during all the Indian battles during the frontier days. So that's a shout out to Jesse Cloth for that. I got to get back to the Chief Pluggy thing because this is Chief Pluggy's Revenge 6, and yeah. So actually, that's exactly what I'm gonna do now. So it's a shout out on because I think Thanksgiving, we're talking about the cultural regeneration. What do we do for Thanksgivings now? And I think Roots and Wings, I think we see what our values or what our morals and ethics are, and we start developing, what our belief in the whole world is. If it's I believe in love, community, and so, because I got a friend in Columbus and we've been doing this for 2 years, that's something that we could build off. So I think the love of me and him, for now, I'm sure we can make this thing even bigger. But I think that's where it starts at. It's just like I got his back for as much as I can. He got mine, and from those values is where all the cultures and traditions from here on out are going to come from. I remember when we went there and we just got drunk and we was just fucking around and shit. We didn't actually get nothing accomplished. So I think by building our own, making these videos and creating my own culture, talking about the stories that Thanksgiving actually represents. But we're also talking about who we are as Americans, who we are as people, what our morals and principles are, how can we make things right with the Native Americans, where do we stand now, where do we go forward. Roots and Wings. It's about traditions, it's about origins, it's also about the future and dreams and moving, forward. So the Chief Pluggy story. Chief Pluggy is a good story. We're going to bring the Indians back to life. Chief Pluggy, it's actually just it's a quick story. Chief Pluggy, living in Pluggy's town, fighting the white man, hates the white man killing everybody. He was a Mingo. There's a big war that happened, and a lot of people, a lot of the Indians had died, and but the Mingo were staying strong. They still wanted to carry on. And so the Chief Pluggy invaded Kentucky. So Chief Pluggy comes down Delaware, Ohio. He crosses at where Limestone Creek and the Ohio River cross at Maysville, crosses into Kentucky, attacks Harrodstown, attacks some other people on a trail in some creek, killed 2, kidnapped several other ones, attacked Harrodstown, Harrodsburg today, which is the first white settlement in Kentucky. So Chief Pluggy, they don't like the white people fucking taking, there's their fucking land, okay? It's Indian land, it's dark and bloody territory. Kentucky literally means dark and bloody river. It's a Shawnee word. I believe, some people say it's an Iroquois word. I believe it's a Shawnee word that means dark and bloody river. I think it was the Kentucky River. That's what they said Kentucky was. A lot of the times it would come like Mississippi River, Mississippi State, right? Ohio River. So like a lot of times the river would dictate what that area was called because it was talking about the river, since you needed a name for the river so everybody could refer to the exact same thing. Cumberland River. Actually, the Cumberland River was the Shawnee River. So the Cumberland River used to be Shawnee. So I think it's important that instead of the Cumberland River, it's the Shawnee River. And instead of Chief or King Philip, it's Metacom, and instead of Andrew Jackson's Purchase, because there's 5 regions in Kentucky, Jackson's Purchase, we should call that the Chickasaw lands, because that's where the original Chickasaw, that's where they lived. So we had Chickasaw, Cherokee, Yuchi. We got to review our Indians. We got to know who the Indians in Kentucky and who the Indians in Ohio were. I think for me it's Kentucky, and Jesse should know Ohio.